Hi everyone. So this is my response to the Module 8 discussion board number 2 on my thoughts on online classes. So after taking this class online, this was my first course taken online, I definitely see a lot of pros and cons to taking online classes. I think that one of the biggest pros is the aspect of flexibility that taking an online class provides. So, you can really control your own schedule and decide when you want to complete the assignments. With this class specifically, we had only 8 modules and we had excess time to complete the assignments. So it's very self-paced. You could have done it all in a week or you could pace it out. I kind of stuck with usually 1 module per week, which kind of worked well for me. I would sit down maybe like 1 or 2 days and work on all the assignments and kind of get it all done in the span of like one or 2 days. And I think that really worked well for me. So I really appreciated that aspect of the online course versus going in to class every 3 days out of the week, 4 days out of the week. I actually just started a physics class, and it's summer session B at Miami, and it started July 1st, and it's only 1 month long, so it's very accelerated. It's every day from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning, and then I also am taking a lab that's Monday and Wednesday right after from 10 to 1. So it's a lot of in-class time. It's very rigorous, and I think that class is beneficial to take in person because Physics 2 is a very demanding course. It's very hard, difficult. Doesn't come very naturally to me. So to be able to be in class and engage with the teacher and establish more of a personal connection is really beneficial to asking questions and staying on top of it. You have to go to class. If you're not going, you're going to be behind. So I don't miss class. I've never been one to miss class in general for any class, but especially in the summer when it's only a month long, it's every day, it's very demanding. I'm going to class every day actively. And it keeps me engaged in the material versus if I was taking physics online, I'm more susceptible to procrastination and waiting, putting it off. I found that to be a little bit of a difficulty with this class. I was always on top of my work and I submitted everything on time and I did well with that. However, there were some weeks where I was busier than others and this class was online, so it could take the back burner. I could wait 2, 3, 4, 5 days to do it, even though I wanted to get all my work done. And I was thinking in my head, I want to get it done. I would set a goal to get it done by Wednesday. But if it was a busy week and other things got in the way, I was able to put it off. Which there's benefits. There's pros and cons to that as well. It's nice to be able to be self-paced, but then also having a class where you have to show up helps with that also. So that's the biggest advantage to an online class, in my opinion. If the course material is easy enough to understand and the video instruction is enough for you to get the material and get it down, then I think that an online course is a no-brainer. However, like I said, physics being as difficult of a class as it is, I think helps that it's not online. Because I feel like I'm learning more by being in the class. A lot of people have said, oh, I took that online. I didn't really learn anything. And I think that you become vulnerable to that in a more difficult course. Sure, you can take an online class. I mean, cheating is definitely an issue. So being in an organic chemistry class online, I don't think you're going to take as much away from it. I struggled with organic chemistry and I didn't get the best grade. I got a B in the class, which isn't my best. but it was a very difficult class, and I wouldn't trade that for anything because I learned so much, and I'm taking the MCAT next month. I want to go to med school. These are things that need to stick with me, and I need to actually understand and learn. So I think that you're not really getting much out of it if you decide to take an online course just to get the good grade and not really learn anything and kind of scheme your way through to get a good grade, and you're not really learning anything. So I think that that doesn't even really help you. But another benefit to taking an online class, I don't know if this really applies to this university because it's so expensive as it is, and I paid the same amount to take this class as I am physics, but I think in general there are ways that online classes are cheaper and they provide a better price point. So if you're on a budget, if you want to take courses, you don't really know where you want to go to school yet, but you want to get some general education out of the way, taking an online class is a great choice. It's a great way to, catapult you into higher education. So definitely, there are definitely institutions that have lower cost for online classes. So that's definitely a benefit. Then other things like, having the opportunity to engage with your professor in a very quick manner. Some people struggle with talking face to face with somebody, and professors a lot of times are glorified as geniuses. They're scary. They're, in the harder classes, they're very, very smart. I mean, my physics professor is obviously a very smart man. He's been teaching physics for over 25 years. And when I'm sometimes in class, I'm like, I don't understand this at all. And I'm kind of scared to ask that question. I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to look like I don't know. So I don't struggle with it as much because I'm confident in my ability to learn, and I know that I am capable of understanding. It's just a little bit harder for me. So I'm not turned off by asking questions in class, and I'm willing to look a little silly because I think if at the end of the day, if you're a good teacher, you're not going to make a student feel dumb for asking a silly question. But some people really struggle with that. They have severe anxiety, and the benefit of taking an online class is that you might be able to learn the material a lot better because you're online in these discussion boards, emailing with the teacher, you're on top of it, and you feel like, we talked about this in another module, how being online, I think it was an essay that we did, how being online kind of eliminates a lot of personal interactions. But there's pros to that because there are people that have social anxiety, and with learning, they'd rather sacrifice getting a bad grade than looking stupid or talking to the teacher. So I think taking an online course can really help you get around that and face your fear of talking to a teacher because you're behind a screen, emailing them, on a discussion board, talking with one another, and you're actually ending up learning more. Not to mention, when we have these lectures all laid out for us on Blackboard, we have the professor taking a video of himself, telling us, oh, in this module we'll be learning this, this, and this. You can go back and watch it, read it, look at the content, look at all the information as much as you want. You don't have to sit there taking notes, being afraid of missing something, because it's all there. You can go back to it. When we have our exam that's coming up, we can read through everything, study up. You can take your own notes to try to learn it better. I did that for the last one. I was writing things down. I was trying to get it in my head. And, that's definitely a benefit, is having all the lectures there for you. Sometimes professors in a regular classroom setting don't do that for you. They say, I don't post my PowerPoints on Blackboard. I don't give you the notes. You need to take your own notes. No laptops allowed. You need to handwrite your notes. And that's that. And while it definitely makes you stay engage in the class. You know, you're not distracted. They say no phones, no laptops. You won't be online shopping in the middle of class. You won't be checking Facebook. You won't be texting. You'll be sitting there, writing your notes, listening to what the professor has to say. So that is a good aspect of in-person learning, when the professor really is strict and demands that you take your own notes and you learn it yourself. Get the notes. Come to class. Keep holding you responsible for the information. But at the same time, I don't need to be told, you need to study, you need to sit down and learn this and memorize this, and you need to listen to everything I have to say in class. I do that on my own. By my own volition, I'm sitting there listening. I'm sitting there wanting to learn, wanting to do well in the course. So for me, if I miss something, it's not because, I was texting, I wasn't paying attention. It's because, I wasn't really understanding that. That kind of went over my head, or I zoned out. I mean, sometimes you zone out. I was daydreaming. I forgot what we were talking about. I missed a portion of the lecture. And to not be able to go back is kind of punishing someone for being a human, for not understanding fully. And the class goes quickly, Classes in regular classroom settings are like 50 minutes, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or if you take it 2 days a week, they're an hour and 15. Like, in the long run, that's not a lot of class time for a semester. Semesters go quickly, we all know. And the professor keeps going. They don't go back and stop and, engage in all this side conversation. They're quick, fast-paced. So if you miss something, it's not entirely your fault. And then you might not know for the exam, even if you went to the class every day and you did everything you had to do. So I don't like that aspect of an in-person class. If it's the type of class where you can't get the notes anywhere else unless you asked a friend. And that's a huge benefit to online classes. It is self-paced. It does have everything right there online for you, all organized in folders. It's there for you. You can go and look and read and watch all the videos, all the material, all the lectures, as much as you want, to the pace of your liking. You can fast forward through it all and not listen, or you could watch it 3 times and really try to understand it. So I think that is a huge advantage. Sometimes you don't need to listen to a professor go back and explain concepts that you already understand. You might know. You might know about concept X, Y, and Z already. And so sitting there listening to it is really boring you. Well, if you already understand that and you have a good understanding of that, you can skip that in the online course. You can, click through it, click through the instruction, fast forward, and get to where you need to learn. And, it's more tailored to you. It's more personal, which I really appreciate in that. I do appreciate that aspect of an online class. The other thing is, taking multiple courses from multiple institutions, and, if you're in a time crunch, you're trying to graduate early, you can take an online course. You can take 3 online courses and take a full course load. I mean, you're going to be super busy. You might be sacrificing grades and all that, but that's a different story. If you can handle it, you can take more credits than your university will allow by taking online classes in addition to your regular college courses. So I appreciate that as well. I mean, I've never done that personally. I like to space things out nicely. I don't like to overload myself with too many credits. I always find that when I take more credits, I'm sacrificing grades because my classes are hard as a pre-med student. I think if I was in an easier major, maybe I could take, 18 credits and do really well in all of them. But if you're taking chemistry with physics, with biochemistry, with anatomy and physiology, and labs and all that, it's all very, very demanding, hard courses. You're going to sacrifice grades. So, that's definitely something to think about as well. But it, depending on your major, depending on what you can handle, it's a great option. I love that you can do that. I mean, we didn't have this kind of technology 20 years ago. Online courses didn't exist. Not to mention now the flipped classroom, which is something that I don't exactly like because I think that it's a little bit unfair to subject a student to basically taking something like an online course, because a flipped classroom is basically like an online course. You watch the videos, you do the lecture beforehand, you come into class, and you do practice problems. You kind of work backwards. Whereas in a traditional classroom, you're learning the material, the teacher's there to introduce it to you, you can ask questions, and then you kind of go home and you do the homework, and you study for the exams. And you're responsible for what the professor is telling you in class. And that's what you signed up for, so I think that's what you should get. When a teacher chooses to do a flipped classroom, I think it's a little bit unfair to subject them to something that feels very similar to an online class when that's not what they're asking for and that's not what they signed up for. So I think there's benefits to it that, again, if you do a flipped classroom, you're kind of doing your own thing. You can do it at your own pace. And, then you have the opportunity in class to ask questions and go over, again, what you didn't understand from the lecture. However, that requires a very intense schedule. And it's one thing to tell a student, I recommend that you study X number of hours for my class, for my exams. We have this number of hours in the classroom for instruction, but then it's your responsibility to go home and study. And I recommend you do at least an hour a day. And that's totally fine because really, at the end of the day, it's the student's choice. They don't have to study, and in turn, they're sacrificing their own grade if they choose not to study. But if they listen to the professor's recommendation, they're putting in the work, they're studying on their own, they're going to do well. So it's kind of like you do this and you kind of earn the grade. But with a flipped classroom, you're not really giving the student a choice because the flipped classroom is basically outside of the classroom. That is not your study time, but that's your learning time. And then, in addition to that, you have to come to the class. And I think that's kind of unfair because really, you don't know what everyone has going on. Some students work 2 jobs to pay for their school. They have, after their class, they go straight to work, and then they go home, go to sleep, wake up the next day and do the same thing over again. And they don't have as much time to be committing to study at home. Whereas other students, their full-time job is a student. And that's a huge advantage. It's a huge privilege. And that's fantastic that some students can do that, but not everyone can. So when the student that their full-time job is as a student, unless they're just kind of goofing off and partying and choosing not to do their work and choosing other things of less priority over school, they are getting more time to study. And so it's a lot easier to get a good grade when you only have to focus on your 12 or 15 credits. And that's your full-time job. You go to class for an hour for each class. So you go to class, let's say, 4 hours a day. I mean, for some college students, that varies. Sometimes they only have 1 class in a day. Sometimes they have 2, 3, 4. It depends on how you set up your schedule. But we'll say 4 hours a day. That's kind of a lot. But we'll just say 4 hours. 2 to 4 hours they go to class. They have, in a typical work day, 8, 9 hours. They then have 6 to 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours of study time, of catching up on, notes and reading the textbook, doing practice problems, studying weeks in advance sometimes for exams. So I think that aspect of a flipped classroom is kind of unfair. However, there's always pros and cons as with anything, and I think some students really enjoy it. Even those that work, maybe they like to the flipped classroom idea because they can, same thing, on your own time. They find time to do it. They don't need as much sleep. They're very driven people. People who are working two jobs and going to school, they're very driven. They have goals and they don't mind. Oh, they don't do have a woe is me mentality. I'm kind of in the middle. I don't pay for school. I don't have to work to be paying for my school. But I do choose to babysit, and I work a lot. I'm a nanny, and I work every day. Um, I take care of the kids, I drive them around, I cook dinner, all that kind of stuff. And I like to do it just to be busy. I like to be busy. I'm driven, like I said before, and, have a little extra money. But sometimes I do find that I sacrifice study time for babysitting because that's a commitment that I made. It's my job. I like to be a reliable person, and I don't like to tell people that are counting on me to show up to a job and do something, oh, I can't, I have to do this. This is more important to me. Even though in some cases it is more important to do well on an exam than it is to babysit for a couple hours. But it's my schedule. I have a very, strict schedule with babysitting. It's kind of always the same. They're expecting me to be somewhere. They're expecting me to help, and they're super nice. So I could tell them, hey, I need this day off. And I have done that before, but for the most part, I struggle with that because I want to be reliable. I don't want them to find somebody else. I want to be reliable. I really try not to say no. So I've definitely felt that before when in the busy weeks of school, wow, I have so much going on. I have 3 exams this week. I have a project due. I have a quiz. I have this. I have that. And I have babysitting. I'm babysitting till 10 o'clock at night tonight. Like, it's a lot. It becomes a lot. But overall, I think that I balance it well. And when I have less time to do things, I'm more efficient. In the summer right now, I have a lot more time. I mean, I am taking classes. I am busy and babysitting. But overall, I'm not taking a full course load and babysitting and doing this and doing that. A lot of my friends aren't here. I'm very focused. So, like, just on my schoolwork. So, I have so much more time to procrastinate as well. Taking an online class. I mean, in the beginning of the summer, this was my only class. So I had a lot of time I was studying for the MCAT as well, but it's easy to fall into, I have all day. I have all week. I don't really have much going on. And that's hard. You have to be committed to not doing that. So I think that having a busy schedule sometimes helps with that because you don't have a choice. You don't have any other time in the day to get this done. You got to get it done now. So, yeah. But overall, I think that taking online classes is not for everyone, but it's definitely a good avenue for some people who have jobs, who later in life. I know a lot of us are moms, have jobs, busy lives, and they're going back to school. And so many people are in that situation, and it's not realistic to go to a classroom every day, to commute. Who knows where you live? To drive 40 minutes sometimes, you don't know, and to go to a class. You can sit at your computer, learn everything from the comfort of your own home, from a library, from a Starbucks, and get a degree. And I think that is so, so amazing. And it really, I mean, you can nitpick here and there and say, oh, well, I prefer to go to class in person, face to face, than sit at a computer and be distracted and whatever. But we're really just nitpicking because at the end of the day, we have that choice. And I think that is what's so amazing about these online classes and the growth of technology over the years is that it's given us so many choices. We can sit here and talk about how social media is bad and it's doing bad things and, what you see is not always what you get. But I think that in reality, I buy into all of that. I do have an opinion about online classes and what's better. And I think it's good to be skeptical and ask questions and not just listen to the mainstream media telling you what to think and how to feel. I'm so fed up with that. I think that we need to make our own decisions and be informed. Um, but I just think that, you know, we have the choice, and it's something that if you're informed on it, if you choose to do your research, you can really learn about how amazing it is that we have the choice. When 20, 30 years ago, this was not even like a thought in the sky. Um, it's kind of unbelievable how most of us can't even go a day without our laptops in front of us, our phones. And to be able to do it, use it for in such a powerful way. We can reach people in such a powerful way, and we can educate ourselves. We can earn a college degree. We can, we have so much information at our fingertips, and I think that there's nothing like it, and we really can't compare it to anything else. And I think that these choices have offered us so much in our lives. So I really appreciate this course, what it's offered me, what I've learned about technology, and just in general about how I've learned like how to take an online course. I've never done it before, and I would definitely be open to do it again. Um, I think that it's a great resource. I didn't have a choice but to take this class because this fulfills a requirement for my major, and I'm graduating in December. And I didn't have any choice but this class in the summer. Nothing else worked with my schedule. And it turned out to be the best thing that worked for my schedule because I am totally self paced. I can do other things, I can be anywhere, learn everything, get it done. And I love that. I really enjoyed this course, and I felt like I learned a lot, and I'll take it everywhere with me. I really appreciate what I learned. I feel like a better person and more informed because of it. So thank you so much. It's been a great 2 months, almost. Yeah, 2 months. Yeah, thank you.